Hi, welcome. I'm Dan Smola. This is How I Became a Theosophist. It's a little program we do out of the Henry S. Olcott Memorial Library here at the Theosophical Society. Way to promote community and get to know people at the center here. Today's program is a little bit different in that it's How I Became a Theosophical Volunteer. And our guest is Lauren Rourk. And so, Lauren, you are fairly new to us. So how new to us are you?
Well, I've actually known Quest for quite a while, but actually joining the Theosophical Society itself, I've been volunteering for about 2 weeks now.
About 2 weeks. And I think you came here with your father initially. He's also interested in sort of esoteric spiritual material.
Right. Yeah.
You've known Quest for a while. So you've visited. Is this the Quest Publishing or Quest Bookshop or both or?
The bookshop.
The bookshop. Okay, so you've gone to the bookshop for a while. So tell us first about that. So what was your impression when you first walked into that Quest Bookshop, which is on the same grounds as us? It's part of us.
I really liked it because it had all the New Age material, which so far in my studies, it's been more focused on more the new aspects of spirituality. But really being able to join Theosophy, it's really interesting seeing more the old age concepts and ideas.
Okay.
As well.
Now when you came to the Quest Bookshop, was that also with your father, your family, and your, yeah. And so now, I don't mean to ask you too many questions about your family, but so is your family sort of interested in esoteric spirituality in general, or
My
off the
dad
beaten
is.
path? Your dad is, okay.
Yeah, my mom, not as much.
Not as much. So you, for how long now have you yourself been interested in, for lack of a better word, alternative spirituality or esoteric spirituality?
Probably at least since either 7th or 8th grade.
Either 7th or 8th grade. So that's pretty young. Can you talk about that at all? Do you remember how you first started to be curious?
My dad has always been trying to teach me to have no fear. That's been like a whole life thing. But pretty much when I was at that age, I started reading Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yeah.
Books, Manifest Your Destiny, Your Erroneous Zones.
Okay.
And from that, it just kind of went into Deepak Chopra, Neil Donald Walsh, and it just kind of went on and on and on.
And so then you started to volunteer here a couple weeks ago, and we have a lot of volunteers who come in here, and certain volunteers we can just kind of tell that they just really dive into the material and do not just an excellent job, but they seem to have an enthusiasm for the subject matter. So tell us a little bit about what you've done so far as a volunteer, so the stuff you've worked on.
I've so far helped cross-reference with the wiki page.
Okay.
That's going to be coming up in July. And making sure that the sites and the references are correct, so if people want to look back and see on the text, that they can get to the right pages.
So this brand new Theosophical Wiki, especially engineered by Pablo Sender and Janet Kirshner, very detailed. They are sort of taking time. If there's not a great definition out there, I think Pablo himself will do the research and put it together. So you're being thrown with that project right into the meat of Theosophy. Not meat, we're vegetarian. Right into the heart of Theosophy. So
Very
that's
ironic.
quite right. So these are, I know you're an honor student in school, right? But you're being tossed into a whole new, I would think, vocabulary. And so what is that like?
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty much the only thing I've dabbled in like the Indian Sanskrit is basically just the Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay, on your own you've read that a little bit.
Yeah.
So, and you're certainly seeing a lot of Hindu and Sanskrit and Tibetan terms.
Definitely.
And
it's a beautiful language though, so. Sanskrit.
So, and then in I want to ask you one other question though about. So you tell us something about us. So I know that you have diligently sort of attended the study groups around here.
They're really interesting.
So what is your take on what you're on any of it?
I'm very surprised that I understand as much of it as I do.
Yeah.
It's very interesting seeing it not only from the spiritual sense, but also the scientific sense as well.
Yeah.
and seeing how those two kind of coincide.
Yeah, the what we just had a secret doctrine study group, and there's a lot of science there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's an unusual science. And now you have a bit of a science emphasis in school, which you're
Yeah.
telling us at lunchtime,
Right.
and your aspirations in your further studies are
Aerospace engineering.
aerospace engineering, and what do you think the possibilities are that alongside of your aerospace engineering studies that you would keep up with a sort of spiritual study? Do you think that's probable?
Oh, yes, because when you work on the spiritual sense, everything just falls in right underneath it.
Oh,
When you work, pretty much it's, I know it's been called the hierarchy, like when you work on the spiritual plane, everything else falls into place.
And I'm guessing that probably a lot of your friends are not into this sort of spirituality.
Unfortunately,
Um,
they're at their own levels.
They're at their levels, okay, and their interests. Do you talk to them about your interests here, or maybe is a lot of this new? Have new doors been open, or is this pretty much what you kind of intuited would be there as far as your first kind of week or two immersion into the thick of this theosophical outlook?
Well, one of the reasons why I decided to volunteer here versus at my own local library or anything like that
Yeah,
was due to the fact that people would be thinking on the higher level
yeah,
and having that exchange of ideas.
yeah. This is almost an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it. Would you be able to say right now in your young life, how would you characterize your spiritual practice, or do you think you have a certain belief, or a certain practice you follow, or is it just sort of trying to soak up as much as you can from different sources, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that pretty much the journey of the soul is to experience as much of itself as it can possible. So understanding as much as I can about life
Mm-hmm.
and understanding as much as I can about the experience of life is pretty much the goal of what everyone should be doing.
And now tell us other things that you do in school that you're interested in school.
I do a lot of dramatic arts because that's the way I really feel like understanding people's different beliefs, different views, different perceptions at all different parts of time and parts of reality.
That's interesting. So that's also maybe part of your, to use the phrase again, like spiritual.
Yeah.
And we around here sometimes we have a strong group of young theosophists, which I think is something ballpark age of like 17, 18 to 30 or something. And sometimes we don't. Sometimes there was a group here a couple of years ago, then it kind of died out. Why do you think that it seems sometimes that we have trouble putting together a group of young theosophists?
I think it's really hard because simply kids aren't focusing on the spiritual aspects.
And why is that, do you think?
They're so focused on the physical, the mental, the social, that they forget that at the quarter and the base of it all, central should be spirituality.
So why do you think you're at the same age and you're certainly going through the same experiences? Why are you able to do it?
Because I've had a bigger awareness to it. I've had bigger exposure to the whole ideas of something besides just the physical self, but really the spiritual self everywhere.
And you seem to have a very profound and mature spiritual outlook. What is the mutual attraction to the science, to the aerospace?
It's understanding that having both a strong science and spiritual background can really help progress humanity, life, and everything forward.
Okay.
To understanding more about the self, whether it be in biological sciences or in astrological sciences.
And I'm jumping a little bit, but
Yeah, go ahead.
With my question about the YTs, about the young theosophists. Let's say you're on a committee here to start a YT group to try to attract more younger people to study theosophy or at least serious spirituality. How would you say we should do it?
I'd say just get kids to think more about their spiritual sense. Because not enough focus, or at least from what the major market I've seen of either self-help books, spiritual guiding books, it's been towards not necessarily an older generation, but one that is more already aware of it. But I think that kids are simply not aware that there's more than just what they see out there.
So how do you make them aware of that?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just gotta say that they gotta understand that there's more to one side to the story.
How do you do that?
It's all about perception.
Yeah.
It's making them see from different angles.
Okay, making them see from different angles.
Making it realize that it's not just their view that's right, that it's their perception's the only way.
And another question about your own spiritual practice. What sort of, man, I'm sorry if these labels are awkward, but what sort of things go into your spiritual practice? Is a certain amount of spiritual reading part of it? Is talking to your dad or other like-minded people? Meditation, is that part of it?
Oh, yes, all of the above.
All of the above.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been doing a meditation practice?
Meditation, probably since about 8th grade.
Since about 8th grade. That is impressive. So when you started at 8th grade, because that's a difficult age, and what was it like? Can you remember the first time you tried to sit still like that and meditate?
Yeah.
And what was the experience like?
I was very inspired by Dr. Wayne Dyer's
Okay.
Manifest Your Destiny.
Manifest your destiny.
And so he uses 2 primordial sounds, the ah and the om.
Okay.
And so it was just really going through and meditating with that. And just seeing for the first time that, yeah, you can make things happen, basically.
Okay. So almost right away you had a pretty positive
Yeah.
experience. And so you've been doing it since then, 8th grade till now. And about how often do you meditate?
Not nearly as much as I should, that's for sure.
Sure.
But honestly, I try to do it at least once or twice a week.
Okay, that's excellent. And do you think you'd be able to characterize, say, any of the results of the meditation?
Extremely positive.
Extremely positive.
Extremely positive.
Okay, extremely positive. In what way?
Just being able to maintain a balance.
A balance, okay. Is emotionally?
Yeah.
Also
Emotionally, physically, spiritually, all the above.
Okay. And I know another part of your practice is doing spiritual reading.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
So how does reading these spiritual books, like you've mentioned, Wayne Dyer, how does reading that affect your life, affect your outlook?
Because it says what you know,
Yeah.
but not necessarily what you remember. It's something that you know
Wow.
that's in you, but it's just bringing it to the surface.
So that seems to work hand in hand with what your dad has always been teaching
Right.
you.
It's like bringing it from the subconscious to the conscious brain.
So,
And just realizing that it's something you've always been thinking about, but it's not always been right there. And it's bringing kind of that to the forefront.
so your dad has helped encourage you this no fear, and you've been introduced to these different things, and you've had the great luck or karma or good foresight to go into these wise teachings. So what sorts of things do you look forward to, like, say, in your next school year?
Actually, tomorrow, me and my dad are going to see Neil Donald Walsh
Ah, yeah,
at a conference.
yeah.
But just continuing to see and stepping into leadership roles
Yeah,
of really putting that positive energy out there.
yeah.
Because at school, definitely, there's so much negativity.
Okay,
There's so much people working against each other. But seeing it really as not denying that it's there, but really accepting everything that is. And but letting other people see if they can see that for themselves as well.
so you've done, especially for your age, I don't mean to embarrass you, but a fair amount of spiritual reading, especially off the beaten path. Spiritual reading, and you've done this meditation. How does that help you, say, to deal with some negativity you may run into in school?
It's realizing that you don't have to struggle.
What does that mean?
Realizing that you don't have to become a victim or seeing yourself as a victim. That has really helped, because then you get out of the vicious cycle of, I can't do this because and then I can't do this because. And it's just that whole run-of-the-mill thing that people get so trapped into. Just realizing that you can get through it and you do have the potential, or latency.
What would you... That's a theosophical word. What would you...
According to the study group.
What would you recommend to another young person who is interested in starting meditation, but they're afraid because when they sit down, they get really restless or they don't like the emotion that comes up?
I'd say start very, very slowly. You can start with just either 1 minute of just staying still and just slowly progress your way until you feel more and more comfortable with it.
Okay. And what would you say also to the same audience? Say a person is kind of interested in this concept of spirituality, but nothing that they hear really appeals to them. So what would you suggest to them as far as if they want to find something to read or how to find what appeals to them?
I would say to keep looking.
Keep looking. Okay.
Because throughout the years, if there's anything that survived, it's been spiritual text.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it was something from Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching, or it could be something even from now, which could be something that seems totally unrelated, but whatever speaks to them the strongest, so they'll definitely find a path.
Okay, excellent answer. And then the question that I ask kind of everybody who comes through here is, and this is almost unfair to you, but I ask them, what does Theosophy mean to you? So in your short immersion into it, right now, if you had to walk outside here and a friend who you trusted and said, well, what is that place about anyways, what would you say to them?
I'd say it's about comparative religion.
Okay.
Just really understanding not only the New Age perspective or the perspective of Buddhism or any of these other religions or faiths, but it's really understanding where it all comes together. In such a time of uncertainty, through science and through religion, kind of seeing through it all and seeing what's in the middle.
And I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but there's a couple big concepts in Theosophy, and they're there's a lot of them. But two that are prominent.
I've seen HPB's collected writings.
Yeah,
only 15 editions.
Right, but two big themes are karma and reincarnation. So, give me your take right now on how you feel about this idea of reincarnation.
Oh, I definitely believe in reincarnation.
And
it only makes sense, really.
Yeah. And have you had because you came to this path at such a young age, I was wondering if you had any sensations like I've been here before, or this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or then it's a little mystical, but we are a little mystical. So,
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
There's just some things in life that, beyond doubt, beyond the mind, that you're certainly supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And really, the only way to prove that it is right is when your mind questions it. And it has so much doubt, and it says that it's wrong, but even deeper down, you know that it's right.
And what is your favorite aspect of? I know, I'm just jumping around like crazy. But what is your favorite aspect of the whole spiritual practice or search? Do you have a favorite aspect to it? That's a weird question.
I'd say it's just the feeling of being with God.
Yeah.
Being as God.
Yeah.
Being one with God. Just that feeling inside, it's light, basically. It's being pure light.
Excellent answer. Well, if it turns out that you like Theosophy and you end up, say, sometime in the future starting a young Theosophist group here, we will be blessed. It's really nice to be working with you, to have met you. There's hope for the future.
There's much more hope for the future.
Oh, good. So it's really an honor, and we're really glad to have you here. And, our society, basically, we get a lot of help from volunteers, especially people like Lauren, who come in here and work selflessly with so much, with so much focus. And, any final word you'd like to add?
I'm just really thankful for the experience.
Yeah.
That I was actually able to find a place that wasn't just like a desk job.
Yeah.
Or something that, there wouldn't be much interaction, not to mention not learning anything.
Yeah.
but somewhere I could actually learn and grow spiritually. Because pretty much at any other volunteering opportunity, there's not really that exposure.
Well, yeah, we've definitely gained here by your presence. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Oh, also pretty much anything we've asked you to do, whether it's jump into a study group where half the words are in Sanskrit. Lauren, will you read? Yes. Lauren, will you do this? Yes. Lauren, will you do the library interview? Yes. So really appreciate it. And it's really admirable too. So Lauren Rourk, at age 17, and hope you come back to visit us when you're running Purdue University. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.